wouldn't it be wonderful if you can just get an LLC business loan with no income verification, right? Think about it. Like you really are looking for an LLC business loan and nobody's asking you questions about your income, right? So it is possible. So I'm here to actually explain to you how to actually pull this off and get your loan real quick with no income verification. But let me give you an overview so we are on the same page here, because don't you think that this is going to be a very easy thing? It's not easy. Nothing is easy in life that is worth having, but it is totally possible. Because I don't want to come across as this is going to easy, whatever. No, it's not. So here's an overview. First, you got to think about your personal and business credit score. So if you have an LLC right now and you are looking for, let's say, a business loan, well, you got to really contextualize the application, the loan application here. And contextualizing meaning what? Like you got to really go back to your personal credit score. Are you having a good credit score right now? Or are you having like some kind of very low credit score? Talk to me about that. What about your business credit score? What about your PDS score? Your Experian IntelliScore plus V2. What is your score like? What does it look like? What about your Equifax? Your payment index score, your delinquency score. Those scores are really important. And don't you tell me you don't know what I'm talking about, because if you need an LLC business loan with no income verification, you better have a clear idea of what I'm talking about. If you don't, you have to sign up with Dun & Bradstreet. You have to sign up with Equifax business. You have to sign up with Experian business. You have to pay like $20 or $30 a month, and you can actually track your business credit scores. This is important. So, big decision time, boss. Big decision time. Do you understand that you need to check your business credit score? Do you even have access to your business credit scores? If not, are you willing to actually sign up for those 3 credit bureaus and get a copy or get copies of your business credit scores? Talk to me, boss. Can you do that? Can you actually commit to that? And once you know about your business credit scores, are you willing to monitor them? Like you monitor them like every week or every 2 weeks or every month to see the progress over time. This is the kind of strategy you need to have if you want to actually get a business loan, LLC, business loan with no income verification. The second thing I need you to have here is I need you to have a business plan. We talked about this all the time. People are like, I'm tired of your ass. You're talking too much, blah, 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 blah. I ain't talking too much. I keep repeating the same thing because folks are not doing it. So if you listen to me right now, grandfather, grandmother, mom, dad, uncle, niece, aunt, I'm talking to you. So if you want an LLC business loan with no income verification, you got to have a solid personal score, credit score, solid business credit score. But your business plan must be good too. You got to have a business plan. Okay, you want to have you be sure to have a detailed and precise business plan. I'm not talking about you going and just lifting a template of a business plan online off of the internet and coming home and just kind of copy and paste, control and copy and paste your logo or your company information into the business plan. That's a lazy ass approach. Don't do it. You want to actually commission someone to write for you a real business plan. By the way, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. I love having this kind of conversations every now and then so people can be on the same page, okay? And it's really important to understand that when we talk about business plan for your LLC, you have to actually specify in the LLC the loan that you need. In other words, there's a section in your business plan. You got to talk about the use of loan proceeds and the request for funding, okay? And so here's a bonus for you. In the LLC business plan that you just write, make sure that you speak about the state of the economy. If there is, like, let's say if there's a big media in the country that came up with a report in favor of your industry, mention that. Maybe it was the Wall Street Journal or Bloomberg or Barron's or USA report. USA report and news. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. So or the New York Times, the Chicago Times, whatever it is. If you see anything that actually is in favor of your industry, you want to mention that in the business plan. For example, you can say according to the Harvard Business Review, blah, 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 my industry is supposed to grow 25% in the next year. This is so important. Now let's talk about the bank statements and your ratings. You need to understand it. If you're telling the bank that you don't want to, not the bank, if you're telling the lender in general that my LLC needs a business loan, but I don't want to verify income, they will ask you to provide your bank statements. And the thing is, a bank statement is not really a proof of income, because on the bank statements there are other expenses, not just your revenue. Okay, and there are LLCs that don't even use their bank accounts, their business bank account for revenue tracking. But the lender will still want to have an idea about your bank anyway. Okay, and they might actually ask you to provide, let's say, the last 3 bank statements that you have for your LLC. Okay, or even better, there are some lenders that will ask you to connect your business bank account directly to their system. Okay. And there is a software tool that's called Plaid or Plaid, whatever. I think it's Plaid. And what it is PLAID. PLAID. So Plaid or Plaid, whatever that name is, they actually allow lenders to have direct access in real time to your business bank account or to your personal bank account. And the lender will see exactly what's coming in and what's going out. For the lender, it's all about what? It's all about risk mitigation. By the way, what is today's topic? We're having a conversation about LLC business loans, no income verification. How do you get that? Okay. How do you actually pull the whole thing off? Now, let me tell you about the decision. The decision you need to track right now, you need to make right now. Commit. I want you to go back and look at your bank statements. And by the way, I just hope that you have a good relationship with your bank, that your name is not on check system or something, whatever, because that will be really, really complicated if you already have a complicated, or, like a disturbing relationship with the bank because of repeated overdraft, because of a mail fraud or because of check fraud or whatever. Don't do those things. Okay. You need to maintain a good relationship with your bank because it is in your favor. You have more to win than to lose when you have a great relationship with your bank. Now, another thing I want you to pay attention to is your projected balance sheet. And if you want to have an LLC business loan, no income verification, you got to have a projected balance sheet. In some cases, they might ask you to have an actual balance sheet. What is the importance of balance sheet here? See, when we talk about balance sheet, you have 3 types. There is a trifecta that is critical for your LLC's balance sheet. You have your LLC's assets, your LLC's liabilities, and your LLC's owner equity. If you're a single member LLC, that will be your equity. You're the only person who owns the business. If you're a multi-member LLC, that will be the equity of all the owners in the business. Okay, and a very important element in the owner's equity statement is something called retained earnings. And retained earnings, basically the lender is trying to see how much of the earnings of the LLC is being reinvested into the business. Or are you just taking the money out and just paying yourself and paying dividends, or are you retaining something? Because a healthy level of retained earnings is really cool, because lenders see this as your commitment to the business, to the LLC, and you are reinvesting cash into the business. And the lender will pay attention to your assets, particularly your current asset, in other words, your short-term assets, in addition to your short-term liabilities. So short-term liabilities mean that the loans and credit card balances that you need to repay within a year. The reason why the lender will pay attention to that is because they want to make sure that you're not overextended. Okay, there's something called DTI and CUR, credit utilization ratio, and debt to income ratio. Those are important elements. Those are important criteria that the lender will pay attention to. So credit cards. Let me ask you a question, boss. What is your credit card situation? Are you overextended, or you have a low CUR? Talk to me about that. Okay, and it's very important to talk about the balance that you have, but also the CUR. But now there is another criterion, there's another metric called DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. And the credit card issuer and the business lender will pay attention to that too. I want to talk to you about another metric that is very important. If you are trying to get an LLC business loan, no income verification, I want you to pay attention to your business cash flow. Okay, your inflows of cash and your outflows of cash. This is so important. And when we talk about your cash flows, it's not just like taking your cash flows in a vacuum. No, we need to contextualize your cash flows. We need to contextualize your inflows and outflows of liquidity. What does contextualize means? It just means that we're looking at everything that you're giving the lender in the context of the general economy, in the general sector in which your LLC is operating. Because your LLC is not operating ex nihilo, out of nothing. No, your LLC is operating basically in a context, in an environment with rivals, with competitors. Okay, your LLC has to deal with a body of regulations. So you need to provide context. Okay, so you can see, for example, despite the bad state of the economy, my LLC was able to generate $1 million in revenue last year. That's how you phrase, your way of convincing. That's how you phrase your argument so that the lender may actually be listening to you a lot more. By the way, I want to quickly remind you again of today's topic. We are having a conversation about LLC business loans, no income verification. Okay. So cash flows are important. And the funny thing is cash flows are even more important than income in some cases, because cash flows cannot be manipulated. Something that income can be. Okay, so lenders tend to attach more importance to cash flows than income statements. So money. Boss, what is your LLC's cash flow situation right now? Are you is your LLC generating enough revenue, or you're kind of struggling? Because if you need a loan, you might need a loan for a reason, but do you still have maybe a decent level of cash left before seeking a loan? This is important. And this goes back to what I said earlier, your debt service coverage ratio, because the lender wants to make sure you can repay whatever extra loan you actually borrow, right? Another thing I want you to pay attention to is your collateral or assets. If you remember earlier, I was just talking to you about your balance sheet. And on your balance sheet, there is a part on your balance sheet. One part of the equation is your assets, and within the assets you have the collateral, and usually you can use property, plant, and equipment. So those fixed assets, those physical assets, those tangible assets as collateral. In some cases, you can use let's say an electronic. You can have an intangible asset, such as a bank account, like a savings account, as collateral. This is totally possible. But the thing is, what you want to use the collateral to sort of boost your chances of being approved for an LLC business loan, no income verification. You have to understand, for the lender to actually approve you, the lender must see that you also have skin in the game, that you are about to lose something. Because if you just ask the lender to bear all the burden, all the loss, all the potential loss, all the risk in this transaction, they're not going to do it. The lender's not going to do it. Okay. So think about collateral or assets. Are you willing to pledge something? Okay. Are you willing to? I'm not saying you should go after, you should seek an LLC secured business loan, no income verification. No, you can seek an unsecured business loan, but just be aware and be ready for the eventuality. Okay. That you might need to pledge some collateral. But hey, listen, this is just a lot better to get prepared for it than being surprised. So here is the approach I want you to really have. So I want you to really go back to your balance sheet, and specifically on the asset sides. I want you to look at the asset that you might want to pledge should push come to shove, right? And what is the value? When was the last time you did an impairment test for those assets? Because the thing is, in accounting, there's something called impairment test. So what will happen here is that every year or so, you want to evaluate the assets to make sure if it was impaired or something has happened, or if the asset is still valid. The value you have put it in the book, less of course depreciation, right? So those are really important things to have. Let me give you a few pro tips before we close today's conversation. You need to understand small business loans requirements for your LLC, especially if you want to have a loan without income verification. And my question to you is your LLC in a good industry, quote unquote good industry? Good in the sense that is your LLC in profit right now? Is the industry lucrative? Because don't forget, we just came out of a COVID situation a couple of months ago. So for 2 years, the whole country and the whole world was actually has ground to a halt. Now, if you want to actually qualify for a small business loan for your LLC with no income verification, you got to really fulfill other criteria. And one thing you need to understand is that maybe if you might need to have maybe you might try to have a business line of credit instead of a business loan, because if things are really complicated for you, you can try a different approach, and maybe that approach will work for you. Okay, maybe it could be a business line of credit. It could be a merchant cash advance. It could be what? It could be invoice factoring. It could be invoice financing. Even though those the last two, you don't find them at banks, okay, because banks are so scared to actually lend to this type of situation. So the bottom line I want to say here is that you need to understand what really works for you and what doesn't work. Here is a winner strategy for you. A winner strategy. The winner is that you need to have a situation where you know the loan that your LLC needs. You know the loan that your LLC can qualify for. And you hopefully apply at a lender whom you have known for a long time. So basically, you have this sort of magic trifecta where you're looking for a loan. You know the loan you need. You have identified, let's say, the amount you want to borrow. Of course, when we speak about LLC business loan, we need to think about the company's ability to repay the loan, because the loan it's not going to pay itself, right? Never happened, never will. So you got to really step up and say, okay, we want to borrow $500,000, okay. And the monthly payment will be about $10,000. Can we afford to actually fork over $10,000 every single month? Every single month. So this is the kind of conversation you got to ask, you got to have in your mind and say, listen, is this the right path for me? Maybe it's not the right path. Maybe you think it will be a lot easier, but it's not easy, okay? And so those are things that I want you to really think about, and you have to think about them continuously. This is not a one-time thing. This is a matter of operational sustainability, a matter of operational stability, a matter of operational longevity. Okay, those are really important elements. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about how to get an LLC business loan, no income verification. So I gave you an overview. We talked about personal and business credit scores. We have business plan, bank statement and ratings, projected balance sheet, business cash flow, collateral, and or assets. So these are really, really important to think about. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.